International Video Projects presents The Best of Bermuda. Bermuda is 500 miles east of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, 774 miles southeast of New York City, and 3,445 miles from London. It's a 2-hour plane ride from New York and 7 hours from London. From the air, Bermuda looks like a long, narrow fish hook. It's not a single island, but a 19-mile-long archipelago of about 140 islands. Most of Bermuda's population lives on the 7 largest islands, which are connected by bridges. Many of the smaller islands are no larger than a big boulder. These islands constitute the summit of an extinct underwater volcano, rising from the ocean floor to just above the surface. Their terrain includes rolling hills and caves. Along Front Street in Hamilton, Bermuda's bustling capital city, the Bermuda Regiment parades on the Queen's birthday. And now from Sessions House, a warm Bermuda welcome from the Honorable C.V. Jem Woolridge, Minister of Tourism.
Our visitors have come to us because they found the warmth and friendliness of its people, the close proximity to the United States. I think they find a receptive audience here. And apart from that, they find a sophisticated country where the people are helpful. This, to us, is very important. If you haven't been to Bermuda, you're going to see some pictures that are going to make your eyes pop out of your head. You're going to meet with some beautiful characters and personalities. All this is a part of the Bermuda vacation experience. It has been my pleasure as the tourist minister to say to you, welcome to Bermuda.
Bermuda has something for everyone. For honeymooners and traveling families, for lovers of traditional sports, and people who simply like to ride or hike in the countryside. For such a small island chain, it's surprising that Bermuda has 100 tennis courts and 8 championship golf courses, including one designed by Robert Trent Jones. You'll find excellent snorkeling close to shore near most of Bermuda's 15 public beaches, and also near many of the private beaches at the island's hotels. An accident of nature brought the British to Bermuda in 1609. Admiral Sir George Somers was leading a Virginia Company fleet of 9 vessels bound for Jamestown, Virginia. During a hurricane, his flagship, the Sea Venture, wrecked on St. Catherine's Beach in St. George's Parish. Somers and his crew built a ship on Bermuda to carry the stranded colonist on to Jamestown. Today you can visit a replica of that ship, Deliverance II, in the town of St. George's, and the statue of Somers, which stands in the town's ordnance yard. Here in St. George's, the 17th century is still alive in the ordnance yard and in the King's Square. You can hear the town crier call the time, report the daily news, and maintain proper decorum. He's quick to duck good wives who behave improperly, and catch sailors who imbibe too much rum, and visitors who have a funny look about them. The Virginia Company founded St. George's in 1612. Today it looks much as it did in the mid-1600s. When exploring the narrow streets and alleys of St. George's, watch for names which reflect each neighborhood's past, such as Featherbed Alley, Petticoat Lane, Barber's Alley, and Old Maid's Lane. St. Peter's Church on Duke of York Street in St. George's is the oldest Anglican church site still in use in the Western Hemisphere. The first church on this site was erected in 1612. Construction of the present church began in 1712. The British Empire built 55 forts on Bermuda, and Queen Anne issued licenses to privateers to, in her words, resist, oppose, pursue, subdue, take, sink, burn, or otherwise destroy all and every subjects of the crowns of France and Spain, and all other enemies of her said Majesty the Queen. Fort St. Catherine, best known of the East End forts, was built in the mid-19th century. It juts out into the ocean and remains Bermuda's first line of defense.
The building that we have today is mainly from 1868 to 1875. I think the most important thing about Fort St. Catherine today is the fact that we have these large rifled muzzle loaders on the gun floor here. They're one of the few places in the world where you can see these guns. They weigh 18 tons and they fire a shell of about 400 pounds. The fort's defensive purpose at this time was to protect the channel, which we can see running just behind us here, which is 700 yards away. It's interesting to note that the guns here could pierce 11 inches of wrought iron at about 1,000 yards, and the channel itself is only 700 yards away. Today, Fort St. Catherine is used as a museum. What we're attempting to do is to restore the fort to the way it would have looked in the 1880s, and we welcome people in to come and have a look at what it would have been like to have been stationed here in, say, 1880, 1882.
The best way to see the forts in all of Bermuda is to climb 185 steps to the top of the Gibbs Hill Lighthouse, one of just a few cast iron lighthouses in the world. It was built in 1846. The Gibbs Hill Lighthouse is 245 feet high, and its observation platform rises 362 feet above sea level. No hostile vessel ever seriously challenged Bermuda's forts, but the British privateers sent many ships to their ocean graves. Storms and navigational errors on the reefs claim many other merchant, military, and treasure ships. The coral reefs surrounding Bermuda hold the remains of over 300 known shipwrecks, many dating from the 17th and 18th centuries. Some wrecks are hard to identify in official sailing records because of their nefarious cargo, African slaves.
Diving in this island is to experience what I have described as the Acropolis of the world's diving. The reefs here are the northernmost reefs to be found in all the world. The wonderful thing about diving in Bermuda is that we are 32 degrees north, and that is the height of safety. It was customary for the ships coming out of the newly opened New World, which began with Columbus's great voyage in 1492, and from 1492 right up to this present moment, every nation that had business in the sea, their ships are in our reefs. Look at these odd things. They're called manillas, and manillas are a form of ethnic money. And what were they for? They were used in the slave trade.
Nicknamed the Gibraltar of the West, the Royal Navy dockyard dates from 1809. The British Navy departed in 1951. Today, the dockyard is a strategic base and a tourist attraction. It's on Ireland Island in Sands Parish. A carved wooden figure of Neptune dominates the grounds of the Bermuda Maritime Museum in the Royal Naval Dockyard. The museum displays artifacts from Bermuda's proud shipping heritage and a collection of the 16th century treasures from the Spanish ship San Pedro, found by treasure diver Teddy Tucker.
Well, I found several fairly interesting ones. The one that made all the, I suppose I got the most results out of the one we found in 1951, my brother-in-law and I. And then we didn't get around to digging it up until 1955, and we got a bunch of gold bars, gold ingots, coins, earrings, jewels, and the famous gold and emerald cross that was later on stolen from the museum here. And that was the one that really got the enthusiasm up that started it all. And then later on we found another Spanish wreck up on the west end, which was about 10 miles from the original one. And since that we still find them.
Bermuda is surrounded by exotic coral heads, or dangerous shallow reefs, that entirely circle the group of islands. Experts estimate that more than 700 wrecks lie within a 10-mile radius of Bermuda. Even if you don't dive, you can explore the maritime wonders of Bermuda's reefs from the submarine Enterprise and her sister ship, a glass-bottom boat named the Looking Glass. They dock beside Front Street in Hamilton, next to the ferry landing. Before you dive or ride one of the reef boats, you can learn about Bermuda's fishes and other maritime life at the reef display in the Bermuda Aquarium, Museum, and Zoo. This fascinating natural science complex is located in Flats Village in Hamilton Parish. At the Confederate Museum in St. George's, you'll see currency, maps, letters, and other exhibits depicting Bermuda's activities during the U.S. Civil War. Although Bermuda was officially neutral, her sympathies were with the South. Merchants in St. George's traded guns for the South's cotton, and Confederate blockade runners found safe harbor in the port of St. George's. Another fine museum is Vermont House, atop Collector's Hill on Bermuda Island in Smith Parish. One of the finest examples of Bermudian architecture, Vermont House may be two houses in one, a Georgian mansion built in the early 1700s around an older cedar house. The first Parliament sat in Bermuda in 1620, making Bermuda's Parliament the oldest continuous governing body in the New World. At Session House on Parliament Street in Hamilton, the Most Honorable David Wilkinson, Speaker of Bermuda's House of Assembly, stands in the House chamber before portraits of King George III and his consort, Queen Charlotte.
This is the chamber of the Bermuda House of Assembly. We've had self-government here since 1620, which makes it the oldest self-governing colony in the British Commonwealth. Great Britain is only responsible for external affairs and defense. Otherwise, we are fully self-governing. We have two houses of the legislature. This one, which is elected, has 40 members. The other, the Senate, which is appointed with 11 members. Legislation goes through here and then to the Senate and for the final signature of the governor.
The Queen appoints the governor of Bermuda. who lives in Government House. This 40-room Italian-style villa was built in 1892 on a 35-acre site atop Mount Langdon. When Queen Elizabeth II visits Bermuda, she occupies this tasteful suite with a balcony facing the ocean. A 36-acre botanical garden surrounds Camden, the official residence of Bermuda's premier. This elegant mansion was built in the mid-1700s on South Shore Road in Paget Parish. Plan to explore the garden in the morning and stay for lunch at the Tavern on the Green, which features Bermudian cuisine. Before World War II and the arrival of cars and the motor-assisted bikes, which Americans call mopeds, the islanders relied for transportation upon carriages like those now displayed in the Carriage Museum on Water Street in St. George's. The Bermuda Railroad has been dismantled, and its right-of-way is now a riding and hiking trail. However, 3 ferries still operate on their historic routes. Although you cannot rent a car on Bermuda, you can rent a moped. Drive it English style on the left side of the road. For Americans who may find that confusing, just remember this little jingle. The right side is the wrong side, and the wrong side is the right side. Traffic gathers during the morning and evening rush hours, so try to avoid being on the streets at those times. The best news in Bermuda hotels is the variety of accommodations available on the island, from small guest houses to large resort hotels. You'll find something in every price range. Most of Bermuda's guest accommodations are in the city of Hamilton and the middle island parishes of Paget, Pembroke, and Warwick. For the convenience of American and Canadian visitors, many Bermuda hotels maintain 800 reservation numbers on the North American mainland. Islanders credit Princess Louise, Queen Victoria's 6th child, with discovering Bermuda as a warm weather winter destination. She was the wife of John Campbell, 9th Duke of Argyll and Governor General of Canada. Inspired by her visit in 1883, a 104-room hotel named the Princess opened the following year in Pembroke Parish on the then outskirts of Hamilton. Today, many islanders fondly call it the Pink Palace, and it has grown to a total of 450 guest rooms. On South Beach in Paget Parish, the 34-acre, 299-room Elbow Beach Hotel opened in 1908 as a small guest house on one of Bermuda's most popular beaches.
Hello and welcome to the Elbow Beach Hotel, Bermuda's favorite resort. Here we have everything that a vacationer might desire. The island's most beautiful beach, 5 restaurants, 4 bars, a wonderful pool, health club, an incredible tennis facility, and the most unique variety of accommodation you could ever imagine. A beautiful traditional hotel building, and scattered amongst our 35 acres of tropical gardens, lanai, suites, and cottages.
In the 1930s, the Furness-Withy steamship line began development of this 250-acre resort near Tuckertown in Hamilton Parish. It's now Marriott's Castle Harbor Resort, with a 415-room hotel and a Castle Harbor Golf Club. The Southampton Princess Hotel towers over Little Sound from the tallest point in Bermuda on Middle Road in Southampton Parish. This property, with 100 rooms on a 16-acre site, is Bermuda's second Princess Hotel. It has an 18-hole par 3 executive golf course. The 400-room Sonesta Beach Hotel and Spa is Bermuda's only large hotel with direct access to the beachfront. Guests can walk from their rooms onto a 25-acre resort's 1,500-foot-long beach. The hotel is on South Road in Southampton Parish. Lantana Colony Club consists of 65 cottages scattered across a 20-acre site. This resort is in Sands Parish between the Somerset Bridge and Ferry Landing and the Sclare Hill Fort, which was built in the 1870s. The Reefs is a 65-room resort on the edge of a low cliff overlooking a private beach of pink sand. It's on South Road in Southampton Parish. The best of Bermuda's cuisine blends British tradition and subtropical fruits, spices, and vegetables. Locally caught fish appear on restaurant menus in many different preparations, including traditional fish chowders and curries served with locally produced spicy hot sherry peppers. Sherry peppers are made by soaking small, hot redbird peppers in a jar of sherry. One of Bermuda's finest restaurants, Four Ways Inn, is in Paget Parish on Meadow Road. It serves French and Bermudian cuisine nightly in a 1727 Georgian home and garden, and Sunday brunches each week of the year. The sounds of soft piano music welcome diners at Glencoe Harbor Club Restaurant in the Salt Kettle, near the Hamilton Ferry Dock in Paget Parish. Boaters are always welcome at the Glencoe Harbor Club. The loquat is Bermuda's national fruit. On Front Street in Hamilton, you'll find a popular restaurant named for this sweet yellow fruit. Many Bermuda bartenders feature a liqueur made from loquats, Bermuda Gold, in their cocktails. Cyclists like to stop at the Swizzle Inn on Bailey's Bay in Hamilton Parish, the home of the rum swizzle. You make a rum swizzle with two kinds of rum, a dash of Angostura bitters and often grenadine, plus a special ingredient called falernum. As the sun sinks into the west, Bermudians and visitors alike pause to admire the island's spectacular sunsets. Thus, golden days blend into magical nights that come alive with music, dancing, and the rare beauty that only an island setting can offer. Featured since 1979, Greg Thompson's Follies have performed fast-moving, brightly costumed 2.5-hour shows in the Empire Room at the Southampton Princess in Hamilton Parish. On Front Street in Hamilton, the 40 Thieves Club and Goombay Bar has a regularly changing show. The schedule includes live music and entertainment, including comedy reviews, Goombay and limbo dancing, sometimes with steel bands, and visiting jazz and rock bands. On the weekends, the club offers disco dancing into the wee hours. Bermudian artists show their pride in Bermuda, using local symbolism in their art. Among the most popular is the longtail, Bermuda's national bird. When the longtail appears, spring is about to arrive in Bermuda. For local transportation, Bermuda's settlers built these fitted dinghies, 14-foot wooden sailboats, which often carry up to 1,000 pounds. Front Street merchants measure their success by their long-standing ability to offer good service. Many Hamilton merchants have been in business at least 100 years. On Front Street, you can find almost anything the traveling public could want. Clothing, fine linens, jewelry, imported antique furniture, china, crystal, liquor, and perfume. John Trimingham, the forefather of a modern Bermuda merchant family, received his license from Queen Anne in 1704. The Trimingham family owned a fleet of trading ships for 240 years before John Harvey Trimingham opened a store on Front Street in 1864. The family still operates that store today, and Trimingham Brothers Limited also has upscale clothing, jewelry, and decorative art stores. A.S. Cooper & Sons is an exclusive distributor for Wedgwood china and crystal. The firm began operations in 1897 as a general store. Later, the emphasis changed to fine clothing and decorative arts. Shoppers open the cedar door of Cooper's Front Street establishment with door handles of Wedgwood china. Gosling's is best known for its Bermuda Black Seal rum. The firm's origins go back almost 2 centuries to a London vintner, William Gosling, who hired a ship called the Mercury to carry his son James and a cargo of wines and spirits to America in 1806. The Mercury was forced to stop in Bermuda, and James Gosling stayed on to sell his cargo and establish a local wine and spirits business. H.A.&E Smith Company opened over a century ago to sell fine women's clothing and accessories. Now it sells children's and men's clothing and home furnishings. Astwood Dickinson is best known for handcrafted gold Bermudian keepsakes and is relatively new to Front Street. It's only been in business since 1904. This, then, is Bermuda, a subtropical outpost of British tradition and culture, a warm and congenial playground for visitors from both margins of the broad Atlantic Ocean. If you would like more information about Bermuda, here's where to write.
This program was produced and licensed by International Video Projects Incorporated of Lakeland, Florida. For additional information about this program and other programs we offer, please write International Video Projects, 6700 South Florida Avenue, Suite 28, Lakeland, Florida, 33813-3312, or call toll-free 800-852-0662. Our collection of programs may also be reviewed on our website, www.videoprojects.tv. Thanks for watching.